Hey guys, my name is Nathan Simmons. I'm with Colonial Life out of Garland, and we're going to be, my office, we're going to be setting you guys up with some supplemental benefits on Monday, the 31st, at 2 o'clock in y'all's office. Not sure if you guys know what supplemental benefits are, but basically if something were to happen to you or your family, and we put money back in your pocket, doesn't go to the doctor, doesn't go to the hospital, it goes directly to you, and you use the money however you need it. Now, before I get started, I want to make sure that you guys thank OGB for setting this up because we had some extensive discussion and she really cares about you guys, and so make sure you guys thank her for setting all this up. All right. So now OGB wanted us to meet with you guys because that's why I do what I do. I know you all maybe have your own health insurance, and that's exactly why I do what I do. Is just because just last year the leading cause of bankruptcies in America was due to medical bills. And what's crazy is of those people, 78% of them had health insurance, which tells me one thing: health insurance is not the savior. Well, that's because health insurance is like a block of Swiss cheese. There's a ton of holes in it, and we're going to help show you how to fill those holes. Okay? First way we're going to show you is with short-term disability. Okay? You may have unbelievable health insurance, okay, but let's say you're sitting at the house, you're recovering from some injury for 2 or 3 months. Okay? 82% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Okay, I'm one of them. We're going to show you how to protect your paycheck at less than an hour's wage a week at a $10 an hour employee. Okay, for those of you who are homeowners, here's the crazy thing. Okay, short-term disability is so important. For those of you who are homeowners, you know the chances of something ever happening to your house is actually less than 1%, but we're required to have homeowners insurance. But the chances of you being out of work is actually 1 in 3, and we're going to show you how you can protect your paycheck at less than an hour's wage a week. Okay, I'll basically ask all of you a question. If you guys had a toaster at your house that popped up $2,000 a month, would you protect the toaster? We're going to show you how to do the same thing with a paycheck. Okay. The other thing you guys will be able to look at on Monday is life insurance. Over half the people that we visit with in our office, they tell us they don't have anything, and the ones that do tell us they feel like they don't have enough to sustain their family's lives for 2 or 3 months after something happening, much less being able to put somebody in the ground. And the main reason we get told why someone doesn't have anything is because they don't know where to get it, which makes sense. I mean, just because there's a lot of companies out there, most people don't know where to start. That's kind of where we come into play, okay? And so let me recommend 2 things to you all, okay? Great thing about what we do is it's voluntary. If you want to do something, great. If not, that's perfectly fine. But if you guys care about your family at all, I recommend you looking at short-term disability to protect your paycheck, and look at a minimum of $15,000 to $20,000 of life insurance to at least set aside for burial expenses for your family, because one of those 2 things is going to happen. Okay. As far as everything else goes, it's going to be where the holes of health insurance come into play. You'll hear us talk about cancer, heart attack, and stroke on Monday. Cancer means a lot to me because my wife's had a scare, and guys, the minimum cost of cancer today is about $25,000 to $30,000, and that's if you have unbelievable health insurance. What most people don't realize is that 2/3 of cancer-related costs are not covered by health insurance, which is really scary because 1 in every 2 men are diagnosed and 1 in every 3 women are diagnosed. I'd venture to say that every single one of you watching this video is probably know someone who's either currently going through it right now or who's been through it recently. So I don't have to tell you how prevalent of a problem cancer diagnosis is. All right. So another thing we're going to educate you on Monday, guys, just something to think about. From a personal scenario, when my wife had her scare, we had actually looked at going to MD Anderson down in Houston. Travel, meals, lodging, those are all things health insurance does not pay for. Okay, but a cancer policy does. And that's going to be something that you'll be able to look at for your family. You'll be able to protect your family at less than an hour's wage a week at a $10 an hour employee. Okay, so something to think about. Now, as far as heart attack and stroke go, that's going to be more family history related for each one of you. It may or may not pertain to you, but why is a critical illness policy important for that? Well, if you do have a family history related events of that, you're at a much higher risk of having one of those things happen to you down the road. And the problem with those scenarios is that you're not in the hospital for very long if and when those happen. And when you do get released from the hospital, you're not right back to doing whatever you were doing. I'd venture to say you guys probably treat or care for a lot of those individuals just within the agency that you guys do. Now, why is that policy important? Well, case in point, I actually had a coworker about 2.5 years ago. His father had a heart attack, was in the hospital for 6 days, and he got released, and he was actually out of work for about 3.5 months. Well, thankfully, he had a critical illness policy with us that as soon as he had his heart attack, he was written a check for $15,000. And he was able to use that money to make ends meet for his family until he was able to go back to work. Okay? Because that's one of the things that we want to make sure that you realize is that if something were to happen to you or your family, you can negotiate with hospitals. You can pay them $5 a week and they can't do a single thing to you. But if you're not making a house payment or a car payment in full, you're going to be in trouble before too long. Okay? So, other thing you'll be able to look at, you guys will all be able to look at an accident policy. Recommend looking at that as much as you guys are out on the road, because for most unexpected out-of-pocket expenses, as far as medical expenses go, it's normally due to an accident. Also recommend looking at that, especially if you guys have kids that are young, still in school, they're active, or they play sports. You'd be surprised how often you use it. Okay, and lastly, for those of you who have health insurance, if you're worried about meeting your deductible every year, we've actually got something that is unique to our industry. We've got something that's specifically designed to offset a person's medical deductible. It's called the Hospital Confinement Plan. It's called Medical Bridge. Okay, so if that's a concern for you year in and year out, you might have a $3,000 medical deductible. Most people don't have that sitting around waiting to use. We've got something that's designed to write you a check to get you there in the event that you need to. Okay, so we're going to be back out on, or we're going to be at y'all's office on August 31st, or excuse me, not August 31st, July 31st on Monday at 2 o'clock, and we're going to start meeting with you guys one-on-one to answer your questions and enroll you in your benefits, all right? So now one thing I want to make sure that you guys all understand is on Monday, one thing that you guys will all actually receive is you guys are all going to receive a free $5,000 AD&D policy. Basically $5,000 of free life insurance. That's something that we're going to be doing for you guys just as a thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit down with us. Okay, and then lastly, you guys will all be getting a wellness card, which is kind of works like a prescription card. It's a discount card that you can use for discounts on dental, vision, hearing, X-rays, MRIs, imaging, pretty much anything medically related. Cool thing is you can actually use the card for discounts on movie tickets. You can use it for discounts on hotel reservations, Six Flags, SeaWorld, and you can actually use it for Rangers tickets. So it's actually a very, very cool card. We came out with it almost 2 years ago, and actually had a coworker of mine exactly a year ago use the card when he stayed at the Omni Hotel in downtown Houston when he went on vacation, and he was able to get that hotel for $100 a night using that card. If you know anything about the Omni, that is dirt cheap. So it's a pretty neat little card. And we also had a lady right after we enrolled her company that used the card for a cancer medication she was taking. She was in remission. At that point, she was spending about $1,200 a month on this cancer medication, and she was able to get the medication down to $275 a month using the card. So pretty neat little card. And every single one of you guys will be getting that along with the AD&D policy. If you don't think you'll use the card, give it to somebody. There's not a name attached to the card. It's one card for the whole family. You go online, you type in a zip code, and it shows you a list of places that accept the card. So if you don't think you'll use it, give it to a friend, give it to a family member, give it to somebody who you think might find some use out of it. Okay, so if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me. OGB has my contact information. But we are going to be getting some packets of information out to you, or OGB will, with some sample rates in them for you guys to look at over the weekend. And OGB will be reaching out to you to talk to each one of you individually about Monday. And so if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But again, make sure you guys thank OGB for setting all this up, and we will see you on Monday.